There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
The morning news on YourIowa.com is brought to you by the Commission on U.S. Territories, striving for equal representation around the globe, and by Keep Iowa First, committed to keeping the Iowa caucuses the first in the nation contest in selecting the presidency of the United States. And now, here's your host, Brent Roske.
Folks, good morning. It is a chilly Tuesday morning here in West Des Moines. It's a beautiful 16 degrees outside. Folks, up on the screen right now, there she is. Negin Farsad is going to be on the program. She wrote a hysterical book, How to Make White People Laugh. There's a chapter in it that says, white people love conventions. It's very funny. She is going to be on the show from Palm Springs today. We recorded that just a couple days ago. So very happy to have Miss Farsad joining us tomorrow. Andreen Ward-Hammond, there she is with Bryan Cranston. They're both starring on a show called Your Honor on Showtime. She will be on tomorrow's program. Very excited about that. And if you didn't see yesterday, check out the interview I did with Phil Berger. There's a still from the movie The Barn. What an incredible story of survival. The gentleman in the green jacket there, when he was a child, stayed in a dirt bunker under a barn for 18 months, did not see daylight, hiding from the Nazis. That's actually them visiting Auschwitz during this documentary. It is a stunning film that was on yesterday's episode, so you can check that out in the archives of this program. Some sad news to report. Hal Holbrook sadly passed away last night. He was 95 years old. You may be familiar with Mr. Holbrook's play, Mark Twain Tonight. This is something he would do. Obviously, he had an incredible career in entertainment, but he actually started doing this show, Mark Twain Tonight. He directed himself. He started doing it back in the 50s. And believe it or not, Ed Sullivan saw him perform it in 1956 and had him put him on the show and got him some attention. And that started his first TV roles. When he was 82 years old, he was nominated for an Oscar for the movie Into the Wild. Just an incredible career, and definitely someone that will be missed. This week, Larry King, Cicely Tyson, of course, Io and Cloris Leachman. So some sad passings this week. Just added to this program, I wanted to let you folks know about Monday, continuing our focus on Black History Month. Deborah Willis she's a photographer. She's just come out with this book, The Black Civil War Soldier, a visual history of conflicts and citizenships. She's going to be on the show Monday, live from New York City, talking about this book, what it means to her, and why we don't often see photos of Black Civil War soldiers. But very grateful to Miss Willis for coming on the program. Again, she'll be on Monday to discuss that. And finally, just I go on Twitter, so you folks don't have to. Right now, Republicans and Democrats are negotiating how big the next stimulus round will be, the next stimulus bill. So Trevor Noah on The Daily Show, a group of 10 Republican senators has released its counter-proposal to Biden's COVID relief plan. There's a Bed Bath & Beyond coupon. I think that's funny. I think that's really funny. Folks, let's welcome our first guest onto the program. Katie Roche is all the way from Iowa City. Katie, thanks so much for being on today.
Hey, thank you for having me. Nice to see you.
So boy, you learn about Katie Roche, and you are involved in so many good things over there in Iowa City. I don't know where to begin. I knew about your music, the Awful Purdies, and right after this, we're gonna play one of your music videos. But you're involved in so much more in Iowa City. You're definitely a part of the beating artistic heart of Iowa City. Why don't you give folks a little rundown into just a little bit of what you're doing out there?
Yeah, so I've been playing in Awful Purdy's, playing the dreaded accordion for 14 years with that band, and getting used to the fact that I can identify as an accordion and washboard player in public with pride. And that's an all-female, an all-woman band. We're all singer-songwriters, and we just released our fourth album. So that video you're playing, I believe, is off of that album, and actually stars me as a 3-year-old with my sister on our own out in the world. And then I'm also in a group called Dandelion Stompers, playing 1920s jazz music. So we're if history tells us anything, after this period of time of shutdown, everybody's going to be ready to party, and we hope they're ready to party like it's the 1920s, and we'll be ready for them. So, and then I'm the development director at the Englert Theater in Iowa City, which is a 108-year-old performing arts center that in normal time, we're doing 180, 190 shows a year, producing 2 festivals, and we've gone online like everybody else.
Yeah, so it sounds like you are someone that just likes heritage and rediscovering things. What is the call to do? I mean, 1920s music, 100-year-old theater, and Awful Purdy's, folks. It's Americana, it's roots, it's fantastic. You're going to hear it just in a little bit here. But what is it? What is it about you that speaks to saving the things from yesteryear?
Oh, well, I think we have a lot to learn from our history, and it's still a revolutionary act, a radical act in some ways, to be in a band of just women. We have stories to tell about being on the road and the way people have responded to us. So we like to write the songs about women, tell the stories of women, because they haven't been told in the way that we would like to see them told in musical history.
And the Englert Theater. So I looked at the website. Oh, boy, fantastic! I love saying saving theaters, and I love the fact that you guys are putting on so many shows there. But why don't you give folks an idea of what the Englert Theater is and what's going on there?
Well, we actually just finished a huge capital campaign. We raised almost $5.5 million, and we did it in partnership with Film Scene, and a cinema that started off with one small location with 2 screens on the Ped Mall in downtown Iowa City. And as a part of this capital campaign, we worked together to build a state-of-the-art architectural diamond, just beautiful, beautiful space with 3 screens. So now they have 5 screens. And then we also invested funds in the Englert, in the historic space. And I think the most important thing probably to know about the Englert, we're an arts organization, presenting all kinds of arts engagements, but we're really, really, really dedicated to trying to inspire and activate positive community growth. So this year, I'm embarking on, with the Public Policy Center here at the University of Iowa, a study of county to uncover and figure out how we can actually do that. How can we get into every pocket, every corner of the community, invite people in, have them feel as though they're being represented on the stage, invite them onto the stage, and how can we do that for kindergartners on up through retired folks? So it's a really exciting project.
It seems like Iowa City is almost the artistic base here in Iowa. Cedar Rapids has some, Des Moines has some, but Iowa City just has so many exciting things going on. The Writers Program, what do you ascribe it to?
Well, I think a university always just brings a lot of fresh energy and new ideas, and it's a very collaborative place. I think the flood, now we're just ago, really forced everyone to work together. Hampshire was presenting their programming all over town, Englert, and high school gym everywhere. So everyone was just opening their doors to everyone who was displaced, and we formed these alliances, these allegiances, these hopes that we would continue to do it beyond when people were able to return home. And that has continued. So, out of adversity can come some really good things.
You mentioned the flood. For folks not in this area, obviously it was incredibly devastating. What was it like being there when the flood hit?
Well, the news from the arts world was, okay, the water's up to row C at Hampshire. Okay, we were watching just the water creep, and the most of the arts campus at the University of Iowa was underwater, and destroyed and displaced, and so that was just it's still kind of unbelievable. It's come back so beautifully. The university has really invested in that wonderfully, and and again, the partnerships and the relationships have held strong as a result of what happened.
If folks want to learn more about the Awful Purdies or the Dandelion Stompers or the Englert Theater, how can they do that?
Well, awfulpurdies.com, dandelionstompers.com, and the Englert, we're englert.org, and you can learn more about our capital campaign and all of our programmatic investments and everything that we're up to right there. And, we've gone digital. So we've just announced a digital season last Friday. So lots of concerts, readings, 2 podcasts on air, the Writers of Color series and Best Ever. And, we're trying to keep everybody busy, inspired, connected, but you get to wear your pajamas to the Englert this year, so you get to be comfy.
That's fantastic. Katie Roche is from Iowa City doing amazing work there. Thanks so much for being with us live this morning.
Thanks for having me. Have a good day. Stay warm.
Folks, we're going to play one of the songs from the Awful Purdies. They actually filmed it in the summer. You're going to see people laughing and running around in lakes and rivers. Enjoy that. After that, Negin Farsad is named by Huffington Post as one of the 50 funniest women out there. You're going to love that. She's on, NPR. She's written for everybody. It's fantastic. She's hysterical. And after her, Britt Slater. So great show today. Let's take a look at the Awful Purdies.
Something in the water has gone wrong. Simple song. Can I help with a simple song?
folks, welcome back to the program. You know, I am always so grateful to the guests who take time out of their day to join us, and today is no exception. She's been called one of the 50 funniest women by Huffington Post. Negin Farsad is with us. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
So you wrote a book that came across my radar just a little while ago. It's called How to Make White People Laugh, and you describe it as, I love this, a social justice comedy manifesto. It's, you know, you talk about being the first Muslim president, and it goes the whole gamut between, you know, politics to comedy to growing up in Palm Springs. Obviously, it's a memoir, but what was the inspiration to put it down in a book? And tell us about the process.
Well, I mean, I'm a comedian, and I've done a lot of jobs where, you know, I'm working for a network, and they're just like, and I'm writing just like silly jokes about celebrities, and they're just like, I need 25 jokes about Ryan Gosling's abs by 1 p.m. You know, so I've done a lot of those kinds of jokes and those kinds of jobs, and they've been great, and they've kept me afloat. And then the other kind of aspect of my career has been to do a lot of these kind of like this social justice comedy, actions and whatnot. One of the things I did was, for example, I rounded up a bunch of Muslim American comedians in a nonviolent way, and we went around the country to places like Tennessee and Alabama and Arizona, and just like places where they love the Muzzies. And we did these shows and called the tour and the shows The Muslims Are Coming, and we tried to really meet people where they were. And so I've sued, for example, the Metropolitan Transit Authority of New York State for the right to put up funny posters about Muslims, and as far as lawsuits go, I think it was a pretty fun one. Also one that we won. And so these are just some of the kind of experiences that I wanted to be able to talk about in a book, about also being like just an overly specific ethnic type, you know, as an Iranian American Muslim, and you know what it's like to grow up in a really weird town, Palm Springs, California, for those of you who don't know. A nice desert town, resort town in Southern California, but I'm a townie, so that's weird. There was just a lot I wanted to kind of get out of my system, and that's kind of how the book came around.
I love the Palm Springs area. I had some property in Joshua Tree. I spent quite a bit of time out there. How long were you in Palm Springs?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up here. We moved here when I was around 6 or 7 years old, and we left Virginia, the sort of more like small town, rural areas of Virginia. Mostly because my parents couldn't handle the bigotry that they were encountering. You know, one of my earliest memories is my brother, who's 13 years older than me, coming home from, I think it was middle school, after he'd gotten into a fight because someone was, calling him like, some ethnic slur. Especially in the 80s, Iranians were much hated. It continues. It's a trend that we haven't let go of. But so Virginia was sort of like a tough place, I think, for him to be a kid, for my parents to be new immigrants. We ended up moving to Palm Springs, which is just very different in that, like, I don't know what the official numbers are, but one of the majority populations, or a large group, is Mexican Americans. And so I sort of slid in under the radar as, as just like a person who sort of could be Mexican, which was great. Worked out really well for me. And often I longed to be Mexican because they were such a readily identifiable a minority group that had all the radio stations and restaurants. But yeah, so Palm Springs was an interesting, and it's a very liberal place. Right now it's one of the, sort of top 5 retirement communities in California, but also like one of the main gay cities in California. So it is just the most interesting mix of people and ideas and cacti.
You mentioned in your book, when you did go to university, you studied African American studies, and you said you were one of the exceptions. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I went an undergrad. I did government and theater, and then in grad school, I got a master's degree in African American studies and another one in public policy because you need both to be a comedian. And I was, I really just sort of thought that there would be other people like me who were not Black but were really interested in learning about the Black struggle as a sort of adjacent minority group. Like I don't know, I just sort of thought that would be everybody. But I was the only non-Black person in the program when I entered. But I mean, obviously they were very loving and very welcoming, and I think the history of the movement is so incredibly important for our understanding of America today, but also just like how you build movements in general and how you, how you can be an overly specific ethnic type in America. I think it was really, illuminating for me.
So there's the cover of the book, How to Make White People Laugh. There's a chapter in here that cracks me up. The title of it is White People Love Conferences. It's specific, it's true. I'll speak for the white people and say we go to conferences. Obviously the book is How to Make White People Laugh. Why that title? Why that angle?
Well, first of all, Brent, I don't want you to feel bad about your conference associations. My closet is littered with tote bags from the many conferences I too have attended. It is an aspect of white culture that I've heavily embraced, along with molding and performance fleece. But the kind of idea behind the title of the book is that and white people control so many things. And I say this with love, by the way. So my friends are white. So, white people control so many things, you know what I mean? It's the government, space, any sort of reboots of old movies. That's a lot of what white people control. And so what we want is to sort of keep them happy and keep them laughing so that we can, we attract more sugar, we attract more bees with honey. And sugar is great. And so in that sense, the idea is you keep white people laughing and you kind of get to share in the levers of power. But of course the joke is that what makes white people laugh is sort of what makes everybody laugh. We sort of oftentimes in this world of identity politics forget the universality of annoying in-laws and poop and and other forms of when you have lettuce in your teeth. These are things that happen to everybody, and so there's so much more universality that the book tries to kind of pinpoint than
the universality of food in your teeth. I love this. It's gonna bring people together. So you obviously you've got a huge politics background, government studies, and your book and your Twitter feed has got a bunch of politics. Is comedy your entranceway into influencing politics?
Well, I mean, I was a policy advisor for the city of New York after going to grad school. And, I interned for Hillary Clinton. I interned for Charlie Rangel. I interned at C-SPAN, which is one of my more glamorous credits. And I really love politics, and I really love the political landscape and talking about it and thinking about it. And I love policy as a way of kind of molding and bettering life for Americans. I really believed in all of that, but comedy was too strong of a draw for me, to stay as in my role as a public servant. That said, I mean, who knows what will happen in the future. I live in New York City, and it's got such a vibrant political community, and we have so many people that need taken care of in issues that need to be addressed. And so I don't know, it does seem exciting, but I think, like I said, I like to write and do stand up about dating, and I don't know, my high foot arches, but also, so there's like the completely dumb side of what I do, but there's also, I do like to sometimes use my voice for politics, and with my podcast, Fake the Nation, I bring comedians together so that we can sort of solve the world problems, as comedians who have no boss, with people like Samantha Bee and Margaret Cho, and David Cross, and Julian Castro, who was actually a candidate, but mostly comedians, me and comedians just sit around kvetching about the news. And I find it to be the most refreshing way to talk about politics is with other comedians, because we just have no thing stopping us from opening our mouths and talking, and that I think it is refreshing in a world where so much of the language is measured.
And you write and star in Third Street Blackout on Amazon. Why don't you tell folks about that?
Yeah, it actually just moved over to Peacock, which is exciting.
Great.
So if you're
congratulations.
part of the streaming wars and you've downloaded Peacock, you could check out Third Street Blackout. It's a romantic comedy set in the blackout after Hurricane Sandy in New York City. I was in this blackout, and I had some romantic shenanigans. And as a result, we made this film, and it's got some really fantastic people in it, like Ed Weeks, who you might viewers might know from the Mindy Project, Janine Garofalo, comedy icon, John Hodgman, another comedy icon. So we have some really great people in the movie, and you really see some beautiful, riveting shots of New York City in the blackout, but also you see a story about love. And love is what keeps us all together.
Negin Farsad is, again, on the 50 Funniest Women by Huffington Post. She's on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, which means she's smarter than me and everybody else watching this program, amongst other things. Thanks so much for coming on. And once, the new administration comes in, I'd love to have you come back again. We could talk some more politics.
Yes, absolutely. So exciting. Thanks for having me on.
Folks, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Well,
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
There's Britt Slater.
Yay! Happy to be back.
What'd you say?
Yay! Happy to be back.
Oh, happy to be. I'm like, is it Negin Farsad hysterical?
Wow. You know what? I need to get her book. The book, what was it called again? The White People.
Here, I'm going to cover your face just a second here. There you go. How to Make White People Laugh, Negin Farsad. There she is. And, when things open up again, she's going to be touring. But, she's on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me all the time. You can just hear, and she's written for everybody, The Guardian, Oprah Magazine, the Holy Buckets. But anyway, hysterical, funny. Thank you to Negin and for Katie. And now to Britt Slater live here in Iowa. It is, I'm checking our amazing, with our weather department, which is my phone. It is now up to 18 degrees.
Oh, Lord.
18,
oh, man.
18 and hazy. And folks from out of town, if you're wondering, this weekend, we're going to have a high of 3. So.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's not too enjoyable, is it? My mom says there's no bad weather, just bad clothes, just bad dressing. I'm like, oh.
I love it. So Britt Slater, we've had you on a couple times to talk about a whole bunch of different things. Cuisine here in Iowa, because Britt and her husband and little one moved back from California, where Britt was a vegan there. She's a vegan here now too. We talked about that, but we've been talking about mom stuff. We have a little one who's coming up on 3 years old. She's on her own timeline. She can and can't do some things that 3-year-olds can do. So we've been taking things day by day. But every kiddo, we have doctors use the phrase special needs when it comes to our little one, but every little one has special needs. Every human being has special needs. So I always look forward to these segments with Britt Slater, because we talk about what it really means, real people talking about having kids, doing the best we can. So I always just kind of open it up and I say, well, Britt, what do you have for us this week? What's your tips for us this week?
I just want to add, I think your wife posted a picture of your sweet little Marina with her hair sticking up in the morning. I loved it. So cute. So cute.
Yeah, literally, it was straight up. Like,
yeah.
She sat up in bed and looked at my wife. She took a picture, and her hair was just every part of it was sticking. I don't know if it was static or what, but it was
static.
a funny little photo.
I think it looked like static. It was hilarious. All right, so today, oh, Brent, this is such a good one. All right, I think I found the cure to momhood. At least during a pandemic, when you're staying at home, you don't have a lot of control over your environment. At least that's what I'm struggling with now. Everything gets messy. Right? Every mom feels this. Every dad feels this. Kids are just pulling things, off the shelves, everything. Well, why do we go to coffee shops? Why do we like going out of our homes? Because other people spend money on workers and employees to make those places look nice, right? So, okay, I love coffee. I love coffee shops. On YouTube, there is this whole little world that's dedicated. These content creators make ambiance, right? So it's like they make little scenes of real life happenings, like a coffee shop. And I like right now, actually, I won't pull my computer maybe actually right now. Actually, no, I can't. This isn't going to do it. Okay, anyway, I'll just describe it. It's a little scene of a coffee shop, and you can hear things. It incorporates all of your senses. You can hear a barista in the background making coffee. You can hear jazz music. There's always like some kind of low key music. It's whatever mood you want, and you can find any kind of a scene you want. I mean, it can be anything from. The reason why I found this was on Christmas. We wanted something in the background. We don't have a fireplace, so we were looking at fireplaces and stuff. And yeah, I found a little happy little Christmas scene with a cat purring and stuff. So it's super relaxing. And I've been turning it on while I drink my coffee, and it's great. I really recommend it.
Interesting idea. I've stumbled across a lot of videos on YouTube that they're experiential. We often we've got, I'm looking at a picture we have hanging up here for Palm Springs. We definitely moon over California quite a bit. I don't know if you can see this. We've got, palm tree curtains right there.
Really
but on YouTube, they also have a lot of these travel videos where there's no narrative or anything. They just pop a camera down on a beach and let her rip. And I'll have that playing in the background when I'm working or something like that. But, the coffee shop ones, that's an interesting point, isn't it? And what you're touching on is, our human desire for contact with other human beings. I used to go to the Smoky Row coffee shop here when my television show was on ABC here. I'd film in the morning, and then I'd either go to the Royal Mile or I'd go to the Smoky Row, and I would edit there and just be a part of it. You just definitely feel, Des Moines kind of feels like a bit like Mars. There's a city, and then there's 3 hours of cornfields, and then there's other cities.
Yeah.
So you gotta kind of, you can feel a little isolated. So I would go there quite a bit and just to connect. But yeah, what an interesting way. And to do what you're doing, to have that same sort of thing. So yeah, access your other senses and have coffee at home. What a great idea, Britt.
Yeah, it feels really good. In fact, I had a friend just write me a message saying, wow, this has really helped me. So I was happy about that. I posted on Facebook a while ago. But and then the next one is, when you're in this day and age, we're always I'm ordering my groceries on Amazon. Once in a while, I'll put on a mask and go to Hy-Vee for that human interaction. But for the most part, it's Amazon. Don't forget when you're buying things on Amazon to take advantage of the subscribe and save feature. You can save 5 to 15% on things that you buy regularly, like diapers, like baby wipes, things like that. It adds up. It's a big deal. It's easy to miss. It's like, oh, what's the catch? But there is nothing. It's convenient. So don't not do that for things that you buy regularly,
Tell me again, what is it? I don't think I know about this.
Yeah. So if I were to go on Amazon right now and get Huggies diapers, every time you buy really anything, haven't run into something where it doesn't ask this. It just underneath the buy option there, it says subscribe and save. So just click it, and then you just kind of sign up and go through the motions. It's really fast, and you're a part of that. And just make sure that when you don't want to buy something that month, maybe you have enough diapers, just to go in and make sure you click out of it for that month. So it's really flexible, really easy. Why not?
So you said Huggies. We've been using the Kirkland diapers lately, and Kirkland from Costco. What do you think?
Well, I've never heard of this. I'll have to tell Darren. Okay. Why do you like them?
Well, we don't go to Costco very often, but we went, and they were significantly cheaper. So we said, well, I said, I'll buy a box, see what happens. And they've got a little more waistband. They got a little bit more flex, and they can store more. There's my real world pitch for Kirkland diapers. You don't want to ever buy, I bought the off-brand whatever, but they're pretty good. So, but you guys like Huggies over Pampers, huh?
Well, it's just kind of what it's came to, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why that is the way it is. But look at you giving dad tips. This is great. All right.
I have a book coming out, folks. It's called I'm not going to tell you the title, but I've been putting down a lot of dad tips into a book form, because nobody, I'll admit that, I did what kind of prep I could, but I was like, you know what, if they had these certain things in a book, just the basics, when you pack the car for a trip, you bring certain tools in case this breaks, you could actually fix it on the side of the road, kind of things like that. It's just kind of a slightly different approach maybe, but I know, my wife and I talk about it all the time. It's a similar sort of thing, getting your list together and all that. So this is a little shortcut way to do it. But yeah, when it comes, I have to admit, we were at the hospital here in Des Moines. Little one was maybe a day and a half old, and we were getting ready to take her home, and it was mid-April. And of course, because it was Des Moines, it was sleeting and it was freezing rain. Yeah. And I couldn't get the car seat installed right. It was a brand new one, and it was a really expensive one, which means it kind of worked crappy. Sometimes that happened. And I was out there and just freezing to death, and I just felt like I was really letting the whole family unit down. I got it to work and all that, but it was one of those things like, this is how you're going to start this. You can't even get the car seat to work. So that's one of the reasons I'm so grateful to you to come on, because I think the biggest thing I want for viewers to take away from this segment is that it's okay that you don't know everything, that you are going to stumble, that there's going to be bumps and bruises on you and the little one.
Oh, this is not an easy job. It's not an easy job. And, you've got people out there like Kylie Jenner, just, no hate, but they take these perfect little pictures, right? And it's like, that is not what it's like, 19-year-olds. Please. Having a baby is a blessing. Every mom and dad is different. This is a ride. This is definitely a ride for me. So thanks for having me on, Brent.
Oh, it's truly my pleasure. And that really listen to that. Folks who don't have kids, there's a Johnson & Johnson commercial. I don't know if they still run it, but it's a really sweet little black and white commercial, and the baby's in the sink and they're giving him a little sink bath, and it's really cute, and it's mom and baby. And then this text comes up in the middle of the screen. And when you watch it, when you don't have kids, you think, oh, that's really sweet. But the text says, having a baby changes everything. But once you have a baby, that it changes every minute of your day, every second of your day. Our little one screamed at us for the first 9 months of her life. It's from 7:15 p.m. till just about 11:20 at night. Wasn't even crying. It was just screaming. And we'd bring her to the doctor 2-3 times a week. Are you sure nothing's wrong? And it was just really, really, really taxing on the whole thing. It affected work, it affected sleep. We didn't sleep. So, but to hear, because then we hear people say in like month 2, they'd be like, oh, it usually goes away month 3. Month 3, they'd say, oh, it usually goes around month 4. And it was 9 months. The first 9 months were really rough. The third day she was alive, we had to rush her to the emergency room.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize there's an emotional component to this. When you hear, oh, your kid was screaming, nobody likes that. We've all heard kids scream in public, but we can always walk away. You can't walk away from this. You can't walk away from that. It's emotional. It's draining. It's sad. It's worrisome. So I feel for you guys. Yeah, that's hard. But
How are you and Darrett and little one doing here in the cold? You spent the last 5 years in California. How are you doing?
yeah, it's an adjustment. It's, you know what? Speaking of, it's really fun. Everybody takes pictures of their kids out in the snow. So do I. But it takes a lot of work to get these little mittens on these little hands. And then he pulls them off. So that's been an experience. It takes like an hour just to get ready. And then me too, buttoning up. I'm like sweating, trying to like get out the door. But it's been, it's nice to have the snow. We've been fine. Again, it's just sort of calm here, more calm. But we miss LA too. There's features of LA that we miss, but it's been nice.
Yeah, in the summer you forget about that. Oh, let's go for a walk. Okay, 2 little shoes. Boo. Now, and our little one, like if she's got a shirt on, she'll fight the jacket. So now you're fighting to get the jacket on and standing her up. It's a simple. Everybody who lives in the Midwest knows this. I'm late to the game. But, now we say, oh, when are we going to take our drive tonight? We like to take little bops around town. We'll do a drive-through, get an ice cream treat or who knows what.
Yeah.
And so we'll say, okay, we're going to leave around 6:30. I check all planning. I'm a worker bee. I go where I'm towed. So I say, what time would you like to go? Da, da, da. And Dana sets the schedule and I say, 6:30. So then at 6:15, I'm out there starting the car. So it can be nice and warm. And we bring the jackets and the jackets go in the front seat with me.
Okay.
Goodness, if something should happen in the car breakdown, we have our jackets. But that way we can scuttle quickly into the car, buckle up. So she's little one's more comfortable in the kiddo seat. But then we don't have the big bulky jackets for our drive. So preheat
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Preheating the car.
Cool. I remember that. Jackets are warm too.
There you go. Well, folks, that's our show for today. Tomorrow, you're going to want to see this. Andreen Ward Hammond was working retail. I mean, Britt, you and I have both worked in the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. She was working retail, found out she had a tumor.
Oh my gosh.
And then they said, okay, I think we can handle this. We can work with this. And she said, you know what? I'm not gonna, if this tumor doesn't go right, I'm not going to die not pursuing my dreams. So she went back into acting and now she's co-starring with Bryan Cranston on the show, Your Honor on Showtime. You're going to want to check this out. I filmed this just a couple days ago with Andreen. She was in her apartment in Brooklyn, but great story. So that's tomorrow. Then Friday, we have, I don't know if you can see that. Oh, this is a pretty loose show today. Thursday, we've got Brendan Gutenschwager, who filmed all that footage from the riot at the Capitol. He was there. He was amongst it. I'll show you some shots. It's harrowing, but he was there. He's going to be with us on Thursday talking about that, what it means to actually be in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
And Friday, we have our Iowa State Auditor, Rob Sand, is going to be on talking about all the amazing things he's doing. Saul Lieberman with the Institute for Political Innovation. And then Monday, Deb Willis with her brand new book about Black Civil War soldiers. I'm doing what I can to give, why is that Black History Month is the shortest month and the coldest month? I think it should be July. I think there should be parades. Yeah. We will be chatting with Deb on Monday about that. But Britt, thank you so much for being on the program. It's always great to see you.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. I love this show. You're Iowa.
Thank you, Britt. And folks, thank you for tuning in. Let me know how I can do a better job. And down there at the bottom, if you want to support, it's just at Brent Roske is the Twitter handle. It's also the Venmo if you want to support. If you're a business, if you want to be on the show, just let me know. Hope to see you right back here tomorrow morning.